Hey, Ted, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Hello, Moto.
Hello,
Oh, how are you?
Ken Pollock from Warren, Manitoba. Who are you?
Bernie from Ohio.
How you doing?
Good.
All right, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Fantastic. How you guys doing?
It's happy to be here.
All right. I'm a little out of breath. I was running back. My son and I went for a walk down this trail by our house. I was like, we need to be home in like 6 minutes. So gotta move on. All right. So let's
It concerns me that a jog with your son leaves you out of breath, Mike.
Listen, Shane. All right, he's 4. Kid's got infinite energy. All right, don't bust my chops.
Let's try
You can't all be,
ready,
you
right?
can't all be Superman. All right, you threw me off. But anyway, so who's got the first question?
Boy, first question. Let me open up the old document here. Mike, I'm going to be honest. Kristen's doing a great job of answering all my questions at the moment. I'm kind of in her world right now.
All right, good. Good. She runs point on everything for me. And she scolds me very often if I make decisions without consulting her on anything design related.
Yeah, no, that sounds accurate. Yeah. No less than you deserve.
Exactly. So while you're looking up your stuff, how's Bernie? I know you were working on some different things that you and I had talked about. Did you end up sending out that newsletter?
Unfortunately, not yet. Believe it or not, I've been slammed by work all through the weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
All right.
So I do have it on my desktop. It's like sitting there open, waiting for me to send out.
Okay.
But hopefully by Wednesday should be my medium day. Hopefully I'll be all caught up by then.
Hopefully,
because my Mondays and Tuesdays are always slammed from the beginning till the end. My Mondays bled into Tuesdays, and now they're bleeding back into Sunday and Saturday. It's crazy.
So I'll give you guys a little tip, because this is how I had to do it for a long time, like with my job, like when I had a job, is I would literally block off my calendar like I had a recurring meeting for like just 30-minute increments here and there. So like I knew from like 11:30 to 12 on certain days, like that would be my little window if I needed to check stuff or whatever. Because obviously, like when you have a full-time job, like you're kind of at the mercy of other people around you, but you can definitely squeeze in. Like I would just put it like I had a recurring meeting. If my boss asks, I'd be like, yeah, I've got this other, weekly recurring meeting. It's kind of a personal development thing, but whatever. And that would be like my little time, like usually I'd like to do it right before lunch because you're just kind of thinking about lunch anyway and whatever. And it was like my time to just focus for a little bit. So that was like a little trick that I used, because you'd be amazed when you need to get stuff done, what you can bang out in a half an hour if you're kind of organized and you know what you're going to work on. So if you do that and then you kind of plan out your weeks, like I've talked about in the past, like you'll know I need to check these boxes this week or this day, and then you'll just figure it out. Like you'll be amazed. Like I'm doing, I don't know if I have it in front of me. I'm doing a 2-week time study right now, even for me, where like every 15 minutes, like I fill out this little sheet. I just print it out like a Google sheet, and every 15 minutes, like I fill it out. Like, what am I working on right now? And then at the end of the 2 weeks, I want to figure out like, where am I spending most of my time? And when you do that, it kind of gamifies it. Like, I'm like, damn, I wasted 25 minutes in the shower. Like, what the hell was that? Like, what are you doing? Like, let's go. right? And it just kind of gamifies it a little bit. So productivity is definitely a huge piece of it, especially when things get crazy, like if you have busy seasons and stuff like that. So try and
You're
protect
right,
your
Mike.
time.
And we talked about that on Friday, and I did not do it, and I'm going to do it right now as we're talking to make sure I have it. But I did do the other part, half, where I put in everything that I'm working on, but I did everything I'm working on for my primary job because my boss doesn't seem to think I'm doing anything. He keeps throwing more things at me, and I have to get to the point where I'm saying I can't do it because, and if he says, what are you working on, then I can at least quantify for him, here's all the new things that you threw at me today. So,
Yep.
so I'm kind of on that. I did, as an aside, I did talk to one guy today. I was actually we were actually catching up on something else, and semi-work related on my primary job, but he's also a real estate investor. And a couple of weeks ago, I had given him a referral for some financing sources. And so he was following up on that, but I did go through some of the plan that I had with bringing on 33 new units for me. And he did give me a referral for one guy who has he's got 12 units in the Cleveland area. So I'm not sure. I think he's going to be more of my competitor. He's got 12 units and he's got 2 co-hosts. So I'm not really sure what they're exactly doing because he's got 12 units and then he's got 2 co-hosts, but the 2 co-hosts are only on 2 of the 12 units, not on the other 10. So
Okay.
I don't know if those 2 people own that one. So I did do some work towards it, just not what we discussed.
Okay. All right. I'll hold your feet to the fire. Don't worry.
Appreciate it.
Shane, did you find your questions, buddy?
Yeah. So really my main thing right now, I guess broadly speaking, I kind of stumble over something probably every day because I'm just in the throes of like, hey, look, this is like my very first like large order and this is my first this, first that. I guess this is probably more feedback / something that I'll build and eventually, if you want me to, I'll definitely send it your way. But for like a purchase type of model, right? Where, like this one is sort of weird in that I'm splitting the capital, with my folks, but I am purchasing and driving this process as well. Like, so, I've missed several critical things, like in terms of, timing, right? So how far ahead do I need to start proper insurance before, my, closing date sneaks up on me and I have a property that's not insured, right? And then, I was set to get my guys launched working on Tuesday and I walked into the property and I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have power or water. And, I just hadn't like connected the dots in terms of it's in a set community. I kind of figured like HOA stuff and utilities are probably already set. Nope. So like I needed to switch over those accounts. And I know that like state to state, that's going to get unique in terms of requirements, but really that's probably been my biggest struggle is just, little things here and there. We're like, fuck, like if I had a, some kind of flow, right? Where it's like, okay, roughly like pre-purchase, bam, this is when this should be done. Right. Or, I don't know, a week ahead, like, and granted, this is also the weirdest circumstance ever, a la pandemic, which kind of threw everything off in terms of timing. But, hey, a week before you close, you can have the listing done, right? Or, things like that in terms of a time flow, which is more or less what we do for like our big fucking multifamily projects.
Yep.
And so I use something called Smartsheet. I don't know if you've ever seen it or not.
My buddy's a big rep and he busts my chops because I use Monday and he hates it. But
okay, yeah. I mean, whatever works. I may end up kind of like, as I use that for job actual, but I might actually give it a shot when I'm, as I'm kind of like doing this process and trying not to forget things that I'll do later on. Right now, man, that's really it. I think I'm fairly clear on, what I need to do remaining. Right now I've been largely focused on the actual rehab and design. We've ended up going much heavier on that than I initially anticipated because, well, number one, we have the time. and I've honestly had more budget freedom than I thought I would with that regard. So that's been a win. And once I get that stuff like launched and I know that there's not really going to be anything for me to do on that for 3 to 5 days, I'll start looking at getting my listing built and the house manual, just so that
Have you built the team?
wrapped up. I've got at least the pieces. I mean, I have the handyman, I've got a painter, cleaner. I still need to reach out and find. I mean, Brad's got somebody he's been using that he's had some success with. So I've largely leaned on him for those referrals.
Okay.
And then I think he's got a photographer that he used as well. But yeah, I mean, good point. I need to get the cleaner in the loop as well. So, but aside
definitely
from
want to do
man,
that, because the way that I set up the course, so that's why I think I called it like the dream team or whatever. You do that and then you build the listing, because you just want to have the peace of mind that you have those people in place, and then you can build the listing.
Okay.
Because then if you start getting bookings quickly, you're like, oh shit, like, oh cool, actually I already have the team in place.
Okay.
The listing's the fun part, because that's kind of the culmination of all the work that you've been doing. But I
guess plus it's occurring to me that I don't know how well I'd actually be able to do that until it's a finished rehab, right? Like you're going to write it differently, so, and even the house manual, there'll be some stuff that, I'm probably going to put a pair of bunk beds in there, but I'm still kind of waiting to see how that shakes out. And if that's the case, then yeah, I'll have to adjust that a little bit. So,
yeah.
Okay. Well, it sounds like, I guess overall my priorities are correct in that do the rehab and the paint first. And then kind of admin stuff from there. But once the actual work's done, I feel like I can pre-list it, and then
definitely.
2 to 3 weeks, that's easy.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah,
cool.
man. I just can't wait to be fucking done with this the first time so that the next time is smoother.
My first one took 6 weeks for the rehab, and then probably another 2 to 3 to like get everything set up. And now we just crank them out. It's a little different, but like as you do it more and more, you just kind of get a feel for it, and you'll figure out like your timing.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're always leveling up. I mean, this hotel thing is like a whole nother animal, right? Like that's,
oh hell yeah,
been like a 3-month construction project, so that's a different ball game. But you're always, once you kind of find your groove, and then you level up, and then you got to find another groove and then another groove, but you'll get there.
No, I mean long term, I think there's a good chance that I could end up having a stake in the development firm I work with now.
Nice.
But my boss is completely on board with the idea of having 2 or 3 or more short-term rental units in all these projects that we have. So it just kind of depends on what like our entity ownership stake is and the capital partner. But we've got a couple that are in the ground now. We'll start to do that. And so once we have that one finished out, once I start that launched, I think, that'll be another pretty unique thing that I'll be able to offer to anybody. So once
you find a couple key, you find a couple key stakeholders, key clients, and they'll just keep giving you business over and over and over again. And then they'll tell their friends, and then their friends will give you business. It happens really, really quick.
Yep.
That's why like what Bernie's been working on is just leveraging his network at like RIAs and things like that, like talking to his insurance guy, and then his insurance guy's like, oh, actually I got this guy over here that has 6 units. Maybe he's interested, right? And you just kind of leverage your network and build it out. So
yeah. I mean, and as soon as I get to, I don't know, anywhere between 3 and 5, I'll probably start to, like my team, like the automated, the virtual assistant stuff.
Yeah.
Because that'll very quickly get way beyond my ability to manage with a full-time job that I actually, like I'm going to stick with it for a while. I'm not trying to get out of it immediately.
Yeah.
So
it's manageable up to that point for sure. I mean, I did it, and then you don't even need somebody full-time. Like I had somebody she was 11 to 4. And like, that's like when you have checkouts. For me, checkouts are at 11 and check-ins are at 4. So it's just kind of handling all the minutia in between. Making sure the cleaners showed up, making sure the guests have their access, making sure that they can get in, making sure that the guests are out by checking the Ring cameras, all that kind of stuff. And like, she would just handle all that for me. And then I had to just have the peace of mind.
Yeah. I'll probably start that as soon as humanly possible, just for the sake, even if it doesn't necessarily make the most financial sense just for the sake of efficiency and
It was like
building the
$350 a
system.
month. Like,
Yeah, that's
for somebody
pretty
in the Philippines.
negligible. Yeah.
And
Okay.
you just train them up, just train them up on your processes and things like that. And then it just works out in the long run, so.
Yeah. Right on, man.
Cool.
Yeah, that's immediately all I've got. I'll get more into the like the nitty gritty, the finance stuff too. I'm gonna pull, like, based upon our conversation last week, I'll pull the trigger on QuickBooks.
Yeah.
I just need to start consolidating that, and then I don't know. Have you ever used Expensify, by the way?
I've heard of it. I've never used it myself though.
Okay. I don't know if that will become redundant with what QuickBooks can do in terms of logging receipts or not, but it'll be some mix of either one or both of those, and hopefully that'll kind of make the property owner thing smoother, as well as my own bookkeeping.
I'd imagine you probably only need QuickBooks because it's going to pull in all your transactions, and then you can literally just like take pictures of your receipts and then
Okay,
attach
so
them
it
to
loads
certain
it up.
expenses.
Okay, all right, yeah, good to go. Nice. One less thing to do then.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, my man. Yeah. Otherwise, so far good to go.
Awesome.
Just in the struggle. So.
Path of progress.
Yeah.
What about you, Chad? What do you got going on?
So I got that luxury property. I went to see it last weekend. I'm gonna go stay in it. Probably spend a weekend in it. What I need is, I want to learn direct booking, and I don't know anything about it, and I don't know anything about Google Ads, and do you have a place to start with that?
On learning Google Ads?
Well, direct booking, they kind of go hand in hand, right? Like, you want to develop your website. You want to, what I was reading about was buying back your name, which, like, it's hard to explain if you've never done it, and I can't really contextualize because I don't know what it is. But I know that, Airbnb buys your name in a form of Google ad, and you can buy it back at a very cheap price if you know how to do it.
I have not heard that, to be totally honest with you. When Airbnb buys your name?
Yeah. So let me see if I can figure out what I'll figure out what the process is called, and I'll come back to you in a few minutes. But I just know I want to go into direct bookings, and the point is I want to go into direct bookings, and I don't know very much about it because I've been mostly on Airbnb and VRBO, but for a luxury property that rents for $15,000 to $20,000 a month, I don't really want to do that. It's just too much money to give away.
So when you say that though, if you look at any business, what is the cost to acquire a customer?
Yeah, so I get that. I think it'll be cheaper to get direct bookings than it will to be on Airbnb.
Okay.
And develop.
I'll be curious. Definitely track the data because I want to see that. Like,
but again,
it's like a good case study.
I'm looking to leverage someone like you and your knowledge, and like, I'm researching all of these different places to go, and I don't even know where to start, and everybody is the best. Do you have someone in your network that could, that builds websites? Like, I have a website, but, builds websites specifically for short-term rentals, setting that up, knows all of these things I'm looking for, channel managers, everything.
So you're just going to need Logify and Smartbnb for now.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is don't overcomplicate the process, because I'll be honest, there's a lot of fucking, excuse my language, just con artists that are like, oh, I'm this SEO expert. And it's like sick. And then 15 months later, you're like, oh, cool. I just dropped 30 grand on this SEO thing that I get like 2 bookings out of. You know what I mean? So I don't teach that because I don't spend a lot of my time doing that. Like, I don't have an SEO person that does it. I bought a building that had a list of 1,500 people on it, and I email those people, and then they refer all their people. And my wife like sets up she worked with a web developer just through Wix to build a basic website. And then we just make sure that it can be found on Google. So she knows how to do that kind of stuff. But as far as like, text to SEO and all that stuff, like, that is not my world at all, to be honest with you. So I would like to give you resources, but I just don't have anybody in my network, honestly, that I would trust to give you, like to put my reputation on the line for somebody that could do like this SEO to get you a bunch of bookings. I really don't know anybody that could do that.
Okay. And then the other thing that I have a question about is I've asked on the website, and is that can we get a specific place where these videos are recorded so I can go rewatch them? And
yeah, they're all on there.
Yeah, the question's been answered, and I've responded several times, and wherever I've been told to go, they're not there. Do you have some? This was like 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't find them, and I was messaging back and forth with like you and Mike about it.
Who's Mike?
Matt. Matt.
Yeah. So they should all be in here.
Okay. They weren't there when I went last time.
Okay. So Matt is not my tech guy. So I will message my tech guy to see what's going on with that.
Okay.
But yeah, they're all in here.
And do you know anybody who is anybody in this group that have short-term rentals in Scottsdale?
Scottsdale. Yes. Ken Eslick, although he's not very active. He's just in one of my other mastermind groups. I know he had some.
Mike, we need to hit him up because if Major League Baseball decides that they're going to do a month's worth of baseball there, he needs to get his ass active.
Yeah. Yeah, for
I actually
sure.
meant to hit him up on that. I'll send him a text.
His is seasonal though because it's Rock's house. So Rock's there right now.
Ah, okay then. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought he went back to okay.
At least when I talked to him last week, he was in Scottsdale. So
Okay.
he might be coming back out, but I don't. Brad Pickett is from that area though. The dude that I had on as a guest speaker. Why? What is in Scottsdale, Chad?
Co-host opportunity.
Okay.
And I reached out to they had like a very weirdly worded rule on their FAQ on their website, and I've reached out to them, but they haven't gotten back to me. And it's something about maximum of 6 people per booking.
Okay.
Per unit. So I was just, what'd you say?
Which website are you talking about? That
I just Googled Scottsdale vacation rental laws.
okay.
And they have a pretty detailed webpage or whatever. And so I'm curious if that's an enforced law. It may be a law that's on their books, but actually isn't enforced.
Yeah, I'm not sure to be honest with you. For that market, what I always do honestly is I just call the city.
I did. They're so backed up right now that they did email me back, and then I emailed them back, and they haven't responded to me yet. So, anyway, I think they're going to say that, yeah, you can only have 6. And then I was just curious if it was, if I talk to a host, they're going to say, yeah, that's on the books, but it's not real. Or they say no.
Okay.
I don't know.
So the question for you, what's the draw for you? Like, do you want to build up a lot of properties in Scottsdale? Like, is that a target market for you?
No, it's somebody that I've done business with. He owns a space. He's gone about 320 days a year, and I was just telling him, I do these Airbnb things, and he said he wanted to do it at his space. So it's just kind of like a random opportunity that came up.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to do it, do it. But when you go into a new market, you got to learn a lot of new things. So I've shared it with you guys before. Like, I did it in a bunch of different places just to prove that I could do it. Like, literally, That was the only reason. But it takes a lot of work. Like, I got to go build a whole new team and learn all the regs and learn all the reporting and everything else. And it's a pain in the ass. So if you don't want to build a portfolio there, for me, I wouldn't even bother doing it.
Okay.
When you're doing your trading stuff, which takes time, you have a limited amount of time to focus. So if you really want to dial in on the SEO stuff, focus on that. Make that your focus.
Well, I mean, I still have to get properties, right?
Right. But you're saying that you just got this luxury property. So look for other properties in that area.
Okay. Okay.
Because when you cast a bigger net, you're going to end up doing a lot more, like, you're going to spend a lot more time having to filter. And like you already said, like, you didn't even want to go visit those properties locally. You didn't feel comfortable taking them on until you saw them. If you're going to go out of state, that means you're going to have to book a flight to go see that property if you need to go see it.
Yeah, at some point, but he's also not, like, I don't mind going places. It's just right now I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, it's also a little bit different when I'm dealing with somebody and I'm co-hosting, and, you know, I think this place is a nice enough place that I probably don't have to see it. When I'm going to look at a random place to rent to re-rent, I want to see that place.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Well, like I said, keep me posted on your SEO stuff.
Yeah, let me go find that, what the phrase was, and then I'll come back with it.
Okay, cool. All right, Ken, you're fresh and new. You got any questions?
Well, we got a bunch of newbie questions. It might sound silly, but I got a few here.
Sure.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Is it better to have all your rentals close together so you can use the same team? You kind of just touched on that a little bit.
It's definitely easier to scale that way, for sure. There's pros and cons, right? So it's easier to scale, but if there's some pandemic that just hits your city, then your business is hurting, as opposed to having them dispersed. But I will say that I like my Northeast, I'll just call it my Northeast property. It's within, you know, a 3-hour drive of me. I have really good teams in those areas. So it's very easy for me to onboard new properties because I already have a rock star team that can handle it. Right. So wherever you go, that's just the key rule, is just make sure that you build a really good team, and you talk about that in the course. So it'll all walk you through how to do that.
Yeah. What criteria do you have to select the market? Like, do you use a short-term goal or a long-term goal, or both?
It's going to be up to you. So for me, I've picked certain properties just based on a couple different things. Like my New Hampshire property, I based that basically because I wanted to go there and use it. It's a sweet area. Like, I like to use it. I knew it would rent well because it's in a vacation area. If you look at, you watched the webinar, right, where I talk about the 9 traveler profiles?
Yeah.
So wherever market you look, just see what other travelers that you could serve within that market. The more, the better, because it just gives you a more diverse group to go for. As far as choosing a market in general, I would just ask yourself, like, where do you even want to do business?
Right. Okay.
Like, where would you want to go? Because I know you were talking about doing some stuff in the US. Where would you enjoy going? Like, if you don't want to go to middle of nowhere, I don't know, Idaho or something, then eliminate that. I don't care what the cash flow is. Like, find a place that you'd actually like to go.
I mean, we do have some properties in Florida, North Carolina. My father-in-law's got a property in Arizona, which might be, you know, something like in Queens Valley that I might be able to take over eventually when they're done using it. But so until we do our research, I'm not exactly sure which market we want to get into.
Okay.
So what sites do the landlords use to advertise their properties?
So you could find them on Craigslist, HotPads, Zillow, any of those just traditional, you know, rental listing sites. And always just try and search for rent by owner, because you don't want to be dealing with a property manager, because you're essentially taking business away from them, as you know. So you don't want to be, they have no incentive to give you properties.
Right. Okay. Like you said, you had one property that's 3 hours away from you. Do you do any, like throughout the year, do any property inspection just to see the condition of the property?
So for that property, I go every month, but for the other properties out of state, I'll just have my team go and FaceTime me, or I'll just have somebody else in the market go and FaceTime me and just kind of do a walkthrough of everything.
Right. Do you need a separate LLC for each state you're based out of?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Nope.
The other thing I was going to ask, one other question, final one. The photographer question, does, like, I thought here in Airbnb, I thought they sent their own photographers. Is that the case or not the case?
They can. I know for me, when I attempted it, it was like a 3-week delay. I'm like, I'm not waiting 3 weeks to launch this listing.
Right.
And so I just scratched that.
So you use your own photographer?
Yeah, fortunately, I own a photography company, so I'm spoiled. But even in other markets, though, I don't take the pictures in North Carolina or anywhere else. I just go online and I look for the best real estate photographer that I can find, and then I just hire them.
Right. Okay.
And there's some
Good.
there's some resources in the course that I share on how to find a photographer.
Right. Okay. And that's all we have for today.
Cool. Well, welcome to the group. Thanks for getting on the call.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, we got Nick. What's up, Nick? I'll unmute you. Don't crash.
There we go. I'm more just listening in. We went live with our first property about 3 days before Corona, so we're just scrapping, trying to manage cash, and we've stayed full since then. We filled up all of March and actually made a couple of $100, and trying to do the same thing with February. I'm not February, April, whatever this month is. And so I'm just listening in to see if I can catch any tools of what anybody else is doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So just a little history. My wife and I, we own 3 apartment complexes in a smaller out in Abilene, Texas, and we started this to try to set these up in some of our vacant units, but our lender frowns on us having short-term rentals within it, so we just decided to parlay it, and we know some apartment owners in DFW, so we've been trying to get that started, but the coronavirus, we've kind of tapped the brakes on everything. We were going to take the unit immediately next door to the one we have, and it told the guys we wanted it, but then, the last 3 weeks, we've told them we just pause for now until, but we're slowly filling up. It's a small 1-bedroom, so I think that's an advantage over having something bigger. Right now that we are, we've cut our prices almost in half. But we're still able to make a little profit.
Okay, cool. So what I will tell you, and I will tell everybody, because if you listen to what you just said, I talked about it the last few weeks, is protecting your mindset, because there's a lot of this like fear shit that's just spewed on us right now of like everything's melting down and all this. But if I heard you correctly, even with all this crazy shit going on, you're still able to generate bookings at a reduced rate, but you're still generating bookings and you're at a profit.
Yeah, we have not had an empty day since we started. Now, yes, we're only making $200 a month, but it's better than not being able to pay our rent.
So for you, for this other apartment deal, is this a co-host deal or is this a master lease deal, or what kind of deal is this?
The apartment we're in now, I know the guys that own it, so they got us connected through their property management company. And just our understanding, they have a Fannie Mae loan, is that we can rent up to 5% of their property and still be within their loan agreement. So we're going to get stay within the square footage under 5% of their property and just take as many 1-bedrooms as we could. We're kind of central in Fort Worth, or their property central. But I know other apartment owners. I'm part of a group of probably about 600 investors, and know the biggest part of them that own properties mostly in DFW, but all over Texas and the U.S., and try to just set up in apartments. And once we have a little more credibility, we're going to try to reach out to owners we don't know, and try to set up. But we're trying to just get established with people that I know just through other apartment owners.
Cool. Is that Joe Fairless's portfolio you're talking about, or somebody else's?
No, it's a different one. It's based out of Dallas. It's similar to Joe Fairless. I don't know if you want me to say somebody else's name, but I don't mind sharing it.
Yeah, I don't mind. It doesn't.
Brad Sumrock. He's a local guy in Dallas.
Yep. Okay, cool.
So through that program, we bought 3 apartments, over 450 units between the combined. So we're just
Beautiful.
trying to find another avenue of cash flow. And the short-term rental is something I'm wanting to teach my kids. We're trying to set them up to do most of a big part of the work. So our CPA recommends we pay them a certain amount each year that we can pay them tax-free. So we're having them do some of the cleaning, some of the the monitoring of the website and stuff.
Okay, cool. So the only other thing that I would say is coming back to your mindset of where you're kind of pumping the brakes. You got to do what you're comfortable with, but if you're still getting bookings, that's probably a good sign that you could still get bookings at another property.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's true. I've kind of had that switch in the last week. You know, early on, I'm like, crap, we got to stop everything. But now that we've been booking, I was talking to my wife about maybe going and talking to the property about getting the unit next door, but maybe getting it at a little bit of a discount because, you know, they're struggling. I mean, I know we are, where everybody's concerned with collecting rents and, you know, we're going to get all our collections. And, you know, we aren't pushing rent at all on any of our properties right now, on our long-term renters, just because right now occupancy and cash management is the keys, being able to pay our debt each month. So, you know, I think we may be able to get the property for a discount if we come in and sign a lease in the next couple of weeks. And that there's some more A-class properties that I know they're already running 2 months free concessions, or they were doing that before the coronavirus. So I want to go and speak with them about see if we can get 3 months free if they'll go for it.
Yeah. So what I would do next week, just come on the call run the numbers on some of those deals. Let's just look at it together.
Okay.
And if it was a co-host deal, I would say just do it. With a master lease, I just want to make sure the numbers make sense for you guys.
Sure. Okay.
The other thing that I will say is I found in my markets, when I went from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, the increase was over 10 grand, like in extra cash flow from a 1 to a 2, because I found that the 1-bedrooms stay pretty booked, but you get a lot of people that want to beat you up on price because they're trying to find a cheaper alternative than a hotel. But when you have a 2-bedroom that has a queen pullout that could sleep 6 people, that's either 2 families or 1 big family that would need like 2 hotel rooms. So for them, it's a deal even at your regular rate. So you're dealing with less like haggling for price.
Okay. Very nice. Yeah, I will make an effort to get in touch with that property that has the concessions. I want to see what their appetite is and what their numbers are. Yeah. And even the 2-bedroom where we're at, see about taking a 2-bedroom there. It's you know, it's a 70s built apartment, but it's in a pretty nice neighborhood. It's, you know, not one of the higher end neighborhoods of Fort Worth, but it's you know, near kind of central to everything, to TCU, downtown, a lot of the tourist stuff. If, you know, when all that fires back up. Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, I will work on it and get back. I'll do my best to get back next week if time allows. My goal is to listen into these every week. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for hopping on. Or can you mute me, or I'll mute? Yeah, I got you. You focus on driving. I got you. All right. So let's see. I think that's everybody's questions. So I saw your chat, Brad. I've never heard of that. Bidding on your brand. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. I'm not really sure like what that entails from them, but
I'll send you the link to the video. It's a lot of the stuff I'm watching is free. I think the guy who, you know, gives his information away, he's trying to get you to use his site to build you a website specifically designed for short-term rentals. And then once you have that, how do you monetize your website as best as possible? But it isn't super expensive, but I don't know. I also don't know if it's the correct information. Yeah, for sure. The only other strategy that I would think of, and again, I do this for this course, right? But I also do it for my Florida property, is not so much Google ad spend, but like influencer shout outs, right? So as an example, my sister-in-law, she's got 450,000 Instagram followers. Like, she's a big time fashion blogger. So she mentions my name or the property's name, and boom, like we get bookings immediately. Okay. Right? So finding like influencers in Scottsdale or something, when you have that sick ass property, if you find a way just to get them to shout it out or tag them or something, I found for me, that's the fastest way for me to generate new business. You know what? I know a rapper. So maybe
Dude.
I can let him stay in the house and advertise it for me.
Huge. It's
Yeah, I didn't
huge.
think about that. Wow.
So
Okay.
it's a lot more guerrilla marketing, and I think, quite frankly, like, it'll give you a big leg up going forward. I think all of us are upping our marketing game because of this whole thing. But even, you know, we're doing a partnership deal with a local, it's like a high-end music hall near the hotel, and they wanted to rent out our entire parking lot for this gala that they're having, and we were going to charge them, and then they were like, or we could just have you as a platinum sponsor for the next 12 months, and we'll promote your stuff like all over town and all of our magazines and everything else. So I'm like, boom, there's free marketing right there. So it's just playing a little different game than we're used to, but I think what you're doing, and if you could get some rapper to shout you out, I think that would be huge. So
I got to figure out, his audience is mostly 21 to 24-year-olds. I don't think they're in the market though for these places.
yeah.
He's got a young demographic, but I'll talk to him about it.
Yeah.
He'll know his demographic. All right, thanks.
Mike, just out of curiosity, when you're talking about like that kind of IG influencer specific thing,
yeah.
As far as and maybe the capabilities change when you're like verified and you have 400,000 followers or whatever, but can you actually post links to things?
Yeah.
Is that
on your
okay?
on your
So once
stories.
you're verified, you can. Oh,
once
can
you
you? No,
once you hit, yeah, I've got, I don't know, 10 or 12,000 people. Once you hit 10,000 on a story, you can add that swipe up function.
Oh yeah, I'm nowhere near that popular. So okay, good.
Every time I hang out with my sister-in-law, I'm like, just teach me shit. She's really good at it. So, all right, cool. I'm gonna switch over to the Facebook group, just see if we have any questions in here. Cool. Thank you, Dustin, for posting that. And Ken, every week we post a reminder. So here's the link every week for the call. We usually post that every Tuesday. Let's see. Meech said, hey guys, I know there's a lot of doom and gloom out there. Oh, this is older. Just wanted to say, I continue doing what I teaches, commit, trust, and it will work out. I promise, hold through during the downtime. Just posted this listing Thursday and it has been booked solid. So this coming Friday. Not saying it's perfect. I have to use revenue strategies, keep him in there, but he's kicking ass and taking names. Any of you guys that purchase properties, did you see my video on reaching out to your mortgage companies? We were able to defer our mortgages for 3 months on all of our properties. Like no fees, no dings on my credit. They just tack 3 payments on to the end of the loan. So if anybody owns properties, just call up your mortgage company and see if they'll do it for you.
Mike, did that come with any stipulations as far as sale?
I don't know because I'm not planning on selling any of my properties right now.
Okay.
So
I'm in the throes of trying to sell one in Virginia, and because of because of COVID, like I had an inspection that needed to happen to get a new tenant in there fall through. And so then like I had to start, and then the tenant left. So like I started all the way at the bottom of this pipeline, and I was already thinking about selling it anyway. I was going to ask, I don't want to get it wrapped up in true forbearance because I'm sure that has some kind of stipulation with it, but I was just curious if you'd ask that question.
Call him.
Yeah,
I would honestly just call him because the fact is like the majority of people right now are out of work. So they have 2 options. They could foreclose on half of the country, or they could just help everybody out a little bit. And
for 3 months.
No bank is going to want to go through that whole foreclosure process and get all that negative PR if the right news station gets a hold of it. So they're just like, all right, like we get it. For one of the properties is through Wells Fargo. It was literally like, was this a hardship because of COVID? I just hit yes and then submitted it. I haven't heard anything back from them. The one for my local bank, I had to write like a paragraph. I talked to them on the phone. They're like, cool, just say that in a paragraph. Like you run an Airbnb business. You've been negatively impacted by COVID and you're requesting a 3-month deferral of your mortgage and blah, blah, blah. And then I signed it and sent it to them and that was it. So it didn't take a lot of time. You might have to spend a little time waiting on the phone, but other than that, it's not a big deal.
I need to do that tomorrow.
Just a little bit more information on that, Mike.
Yep.
So if it's not, or if it's a government supplied loan, if it's like a, what do you call it, FHA, or if it's Fannie or Freddie backed,
Yep.
they're doing forbearance. So they're forgiving 3 months worth of payments, but there's also going to be a balloon payment at the end of those 3 months. So you are expected to pay all 3 months at once.
Interesting. Yeah. So clarify that. I know for mine, I asked that question and they said, no, it's going to go to the end of the loan.
Right. And it's correct for yours because yours is through Wells Fargo, through Bank of America. Those banks those banks themselves are doing that as a addition to the end of your loan. But if it's anything that's government backed, then you are expected to do a balloon payment shortly after 3 months or after the 90 days.
Both of my properties, the same thing happened as UD. Yep.
Yeah. So then I don't know if it'd be worth it. And quite frankly, that program wouldn't make sense because if people can't afford to pay the mortgage now because they're not making any money, how are they going to afford to pay 4 months worth of mortgage in 3 months? Like, that
And that's what the issue is right now. And they're talking about it and going to revisit it in 90 days.
They're going to have to, because people are going to be like, dude, what do you want me to do? Like, I don't have 4 months of mortgage. I've been out of work.
I have $12,000 to pay right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. So Ernesto said, hey, everyone, hope you're well. Is there any risk downside to having guest utilities? Guests want to book for 4 months. Would be less work for me, but if I'm missing a blind side, I hope you'll help me see it. So I guess he's asking to change all of his utilities over. I wouldn't put it in the guest name. I would just, if they're going to stay for 4 months, either, negotiate that into your rates, charge a little bit of a premium on your rates. But I mean, that's kind of a pain in the ass to change it all over and then change it back just to get a booking. I don't think you need to do that. I would just bump my rates personally, or work it out with them that you're going to bill them back for it or something. But I don't think you need to actually change the name of who's on the utilities. Trinity asked for a receipt. Cool. I already sent it. I sent that the other day, Trinity, if you're watching this, and I'm pretty sure you wrote back to me. So I posted last week a list of travel nurse and doctor companies. Chad, you looked into this. Did anything come out of that?
What was that? What did I look into?
The travel nurse sites that I posted.
So I just sent an email out today to all of those companies. So I'm waiting to hear back. But I sent it out as a timed group email, and I want to see if I get any responses. If I don't, then I'm going to send out individual emails.
Okay, cool.
I'll let you know.
Sweet. All right. I don't see any other questions in here, guys. So does anybody have anything else on the phone that you want to ask before we hop off today?
I would make one comment. You guys may have already touched on this, but the idle loan is something that I have filled out with my entity that we're doing our short-term rentals through, and our CPA felt like we would qualify at least for the $10,000 grant. If no one else, I don't know if you guys, it's a 10-minute process on.
You're talking about the PPL, the payment protection plan?
No, there's it's EDIL.
Oh yeah, Emergency Disaster Relief Fund or whatever the hell it is. Yeah.
Yes, something like that, and it's very simple. And I've heard actually 2 different CPAs that I've listened to had felt like that $10,000 grant was going to be pretty freely handed out. So it may be an opportunity. You've had to be in business from maybe February 15th or it might have been January 31st of this year. Yep. So if your LLC was put together before that, it may be 10 grand of free money you can capture.
Yep, for sure. And thank you for bringing that up, because I meant to bring this up. So my CPA is actually doing a webinar with Tony Robbins tomorrow. I don't know how the hell he pulled that off, but he's co-hosting a webinar with Tony Robbins tomorrow to talk about the whole CARES Act and about all these loan programs tomorrow. So I'll post that link in the group when we're done. He's a real smart dude. He's a friend of mine. He's been my CPA. He knows his stuff. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know how he pulled it off, but he's co-hosting a webinar with Tony tomorrow to talk about it.
Mike, who is that?
It's Tyler McBroom. He's an M1.
Okay. I thought it was it sounded vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I'll post it in the group.
Is he real estate specific, or is he a little bit broader?
He's entrepreneur specific. He only works with business owners.
Okay.
Yeah. So he works with most of the guys in GoBundance, and he's in Ed Milet's like Arate Syndicate like high level mastermind.
Yep.
No.
I know a couple dudes in that.
Yeah, he's got some good connections. So anyway, I'll post that when we get done. Thanks for bringing that up, Nick. Cool. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, Mike, it's Bernie. I just wanted to throw in one positive comment. As you know, I haven't really had any vacancies on my property, and knock on wood, that keeps going. But I, just as an FYI, I changed my title to Staycation for Social Distancing, and we just had a guy that came in for 2 weeks. That he came in from out of the country, and I guess I'm not sure if the government's making him do it or the company's making him do it, making him do a 2-week self-isolation. So he came in from out of the country, and he had to do a 2-week self-isolation. And at first I was a little nervous because his family came and like stood on the front lawn and talked to him through a closed door. But it worked out real well. He checked out today. He never had any symptoms or anything like that. He's good to go. Now following the rule of like wait 3 days before you rent it out again. But I have another family, hopefully on Friday, coming in from out of the country also. They're another family that lives here but was out of the country, and they're just coming back. So they want to just stay in a separate place for 2 weeks. So it's good long-term bookings, or medium-term bookings. So
Yep.
for that out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice work, Bernie. I love it.
Yeah, right on, dude. That's adaptive as fuck. Love it.
Bernie, what size is your place?
It's actually very tiny. It's a 1-bedroom. So it's got a queen bed in the bedroom and a queen pull-out couch. So the last one was just a single guy, but the ones coming in on Friday is a couple with 2 kids.
Well, I was going to say though, I think the 1-bedrooms and 2-bedrooms are going to be your best sellers, because people are quarantining alone and they're not looking for outlandish vacation spots. They're just like,
Right.
Give me a bed. So I think people in those spots would be a little bit better off than somebody who had, for example, a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
The only caveat I'll throw in is that we had a couple quarantined for 2 weeks in our 4-bedroom beach house in Florida. Just 2 people.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so that then it would go to cost, and that, that's anecdotal. I don't know if that individual couple is wealthy. How much was a 4-bedroom compared to a 2-bedroom house in the area?
From what do you mean? From a price point for them?
Yeah, like if 4-bedroom, if they wanted a house with a pool and the only one available was a 4-bedroom and it was $300 a night, and the 2-bedrooms were $250 a night, it doesn't matter that it's a 4-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I was getting a lot of requests for people, and they wanted 50, 60, 70% off of what a normal night rent was, because it was just one person. I wasn't getting families booking. I was getting a quarantine or a couple or whatever. So they didn't want a 3-bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah. So then at that point, it's just running the numbers. I mean, you ran the numbers and you decided to just rent it out long term, right?
I mean, mine was theoretical. Yeah, I rented out for 3 months, not long term, but 3 months also at a discount. But I just felt like that would have been, it just made more sense. I don't know. I mean, I won't know until I look at how other 3-bedrooms fared.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Are you getting your fair market value for your 4-bedroom house, or did you take a discount?
No, I mean, we discounted everything right now.
Yeah.
It's protecting your profit. You want to protect what you can protect, right?
Yeah.
And it's also looking at, to your point before about building your own direct booking site, the people that you can help out right now that are in a pinch and that are freaking out and they're terrified and they just need a place to go, they're going to remember you. Because I could have told these people to screw, there's no way I'm going to take you for whatever price. But we're like, you know what? We'll build up some goodwill, make sure they take care of the property, and then kind of play that long game. So when they're thinking back on this, remember that time when we had this global pandemic and we got to stay in this amazing beach house for 2 weeks? Like, wouldn't it be cool to go back there? Like, that's kind of like my thought process of how I'm looking at it. Because initially, I'm pretty ruthless with my rates. But when I step back and I look at the long game and the psychology of people when they're in crisis, they're going to remember you. Like, I remember exactly where I was on 9/11. Like, right? Like, I remember, I know exactly where I was. Like, the first time I saw the TV turn on. So when people are in like crazy crisis mode and they're freaking out and they're terrified, they're going to remember that property.
I mean, did you do anything for them? Because if you, like, I know that you're discounting for your normal rates, but if that was just the rate of everything that was going, do you think that they will actually feel that way about you?
Yeah, for sure. Because we offered them a discount on a discount.
Oh, so you just came out and said, hey, here's more money off for no reason?
No. They said, hey, we can't afford this.
Yeah.
You know, we really need a place to stay. It's like 2 blocks from my parents' place. And so we just said, okay, what is your max budget per night per person? That's like our standard response. What is your max budget per person per night? And then they told us, and we said, okay, well, we can work within this much. And then that's how we came to a conclusion on it.
So if they were operating in good faith, then yeah, I think they're going to appreciate it.
Yeah.
And if they're just trying to get one over on you, then they're just entitled people and it won't matter.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to play the long game, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I agree.
Cool. Nick, were you going to say something? I thought you were trying to say something. Okay, cool. You're good. You don't need to unmute.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm parked, actually. I'm in my driveway. My wife walked up to the car, so I was talking to her.
Okay, cool. All good. All right, guys. If there's no more questions, we'll call it a week. If you have questions that come up during the week, feel free to post them in the Facebook group. I don't know if you already dropped off, but Chad, I'll look into the technical glitch for you, and I'll see what's going on with that, and I'll just make sure that that's working for you.
The video thing?
The replays, you were saying that it's not showing up in your portal.
The last time I checked, but I'll go look at it now and I'll message you. Like that was like 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. If not, either way, I'll have my tech guy look at it because it's weird if it wasn't showing up. So I'll just make sure that we're good. All right. Sound good, guys?
Yep. Thanks, Mike.
Right on.
Good.
Thanks,
All right,
Mike.
good evening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.